What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to our Texas real estate and construction channel down here in the beautiful state of Texas. And for the second time, we have a wonderful guest from Austin, Texas. We have Matt Cenca. How you doing today, Matt?
Good, Eric. Thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Matt. I'm glad we could reconnect. I know that you have something real special to share today about what you have going on. And you're a man who wears many different hats. I know that you do many different things. And one of the things that you happen to do really well is, staying focused on task and finding new innovative ways to merge two different industries. So I thought it was cool to be able to hear how you're merging the real estate world with the crypto world. So Matt, if you could just, give a brief introduction and tell our audience, who you are and what you do.
Sure. Hey, guys. My name's Matt Cenca. I'm a full-time investor, and I work with strategies within the crypto and real estate realm. And I kind of take cryptocurrency, which is a very volatile asset, and I hedge it with commercial real estate in a way to create a balanced portfolio and have stable, steady gains while still getting exposure to the huge upside of what cryptocurrency can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of one of the things, I know a lot of our audience, they're very real estate focused down here in the state of Texas. And one great thing about real estate is you can see it, you can touch it, you know what condition it's in. Whereas crypto, it could be a bit concerning, right? You can't see it.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And when I designed the strategy, that was something that I kept in mind, right? It's one thing to get exposure to this digital asset, right? But it's another thing where it's not technically tangible in the sense that you can't slap your hand on it, you can't touch it, right? So I figured if I mix that with something a little bit more tangible, like commercial real estate, it's not only going to balance out the volatility of cryptocurrency with that nice, stable, steady growth curve that commercial has, but it also kind of backs it with a hard asset in a sense, right? So if anyone ever has interest in the strategy and they want to invest in the projects that I'm working on, I can say, look, for every dollar that you're going to put into crypto, I'm going to give you another dollar on the commercial real estate side, essentially backing it with that tangible asset so that we can never go to zero in the portfolio.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity as well, out of any facet of the real estate industry, why commercial? Why not, why not smaller homes or rentals or something like that? What's special about commercial in terms of, returns?
To be honest with you, I think the commercial returns are astronomically higher than anything you'll see residential, right? It's so many multiples higher on exits. There's way more potential for rental income there, multiple spaces in one building. I think that commercial far outperforms the residential market over time in almost every way that you can make money inside the real estate asset class.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's some great insight there. It's, I wasn't sure, maybe someone could have some sort of volume game, right? A big amount of residential homes, whereas you could just have, one big asset that's on the commercial side.
Right. I mean, different firms, different individuals have different strategies, right? Different strokes for different folks. Everybody knows that there's not a one strategy fits all inside the real estate asset class or inside any asset class, right? Depends on your risk tolerance, depends on your knowledge of the industry, age, things like that. This is just what fit for me.
Absolutely. And, I know you talked a bit about the returns and kind of, what you guys are looking to do. So what got you interested? Because, I know that you're a serial entrepreneur. You do a lot of really neat things. You're on the tech side as well, and you have a pretty cool background, like we heard on the first episode. But, what do you like about real estate, or what do you like about merging these two industries together?
Well, kind of what I talked about originally when we jumped on the call, it's that I get exposure to the huge potential upside of what cryptocurrency can do, but my downside is protected and my volatility is mitigated through this stable asset class that grows at a pretty consistent rate. On the flip side of it, it also brings me stable income from the the commercial side of the portfolio as well. So it's kind of a catch-all here, right? We hedge volatility and mitigate risk with the real estate and also provide income to the portfolio through it.
Absolutely. And, Matt, we're sitting down at a very interesting time, right? We're in November of 2022. We're looking to, finish the year off strong. The holidays are approaching. And next year in 2023, it's, we're kind of staring into the unknown, right? Not only with the real estate market, also on the crypto side as well. Crypto's gone up, crypto's gone down. What's special about doing this, merging crypto and real estate right now at the end of 2022?
Oh man, excellent question. And I'll tell you, it's a great time to get involved in both, to be honest with you. We're seeing lows that we haven't seen in a long time on both sides of the coin here. With Bitcoin right now sitting at about 16,000, coming down from the high of about 69,000, 70,000. Excellent time to start dollar cost averaging into that. I still think there's more downside to come, right? So we don't put all our eggs in one basket at one time. We kind of average down as the market falls. You know the name of the game. With the real estate, rising interest rates have been, a blessing, to be quite honest with you, right? The price of the assets fall, right? It's that golden rule of macroeconomics. As interest rates rise, the price of real assets must fall. It's tried and true. So what I like to tell people is you're married to the price you pay on the real estate asset, but you're only dating the rate. So my strategy on that side is simple. I can come in and get these assets low, under market value now, come in, make repairs, do what I need to do, raise rents, get the building reappraised, pull out my value add through a reverse equity, and move on to the next property. But the rate to me on that commercial real estate doesn't really matter at this point. Why? Because I've only removed enough equity from the asset to the point where it's still going to cash flow positive from those rents, right? So the rents are essentially paying the note. It doesn't matter to me what the rate is as long as it's paying for it with a little bit on top for the income side. Now, obviously you want to hedge that a little bit. You want to make sure that you're still making a profit at 60, 70, 80% occupancy. So you do have to kind of play with your numbers and figure out how much cash to keep in the deal, because you don't want to just be break even only at 100% occupancy. That's a great way to get upside down on the real estate asset and get over leveraged quickly. But anyways, pull that out and we'll move on to the next asset. And we basically just rinse, wash, and repeat. And we're just playing Monopoly with these assets. Now, as interest rates fall, the price of the real assets must rise. So the assets will all appreciate in value, and I can come in and I can refinance the entire portfolio at a much lower rate, which is going to increase my profit margin on every single one of those properties that I bought at a low price when interest rates were high.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a special distinction to make, right? Because especially, there's so much information out there, people getting upset or concerned about interest rates rising, where some people may think, oh my God, interest rates are rising. That means there's no deals. That means that I'm restricted. That means X, Y, and Z. Whereas what you're saying is a bit different.
Oh, without a doubt. When interest rates rise, I see opportunity, right? It's buy when there's blood in the streets. And I assure you, there's plenty of blood out there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really unique perspective to offer as well. And I can tell that, obviously you're not just thinking in the short term, right? It's not not to pick on someone who's flipping homes, but it's not just a flip where you kind of have this narrow scope of, hey, I'm going to be out of this within a few months. You're really looking at the long term, interest rates now, interest rates later, and then refinancing the whole portfolio, like you said, and moving on, right?
Right. I mean, you definitely want to take the macroeconomic conditions of the environment that you're playing in into account when you're dealing with larger sums of money and more buildings, right? You really can't just be looking at that short-term quick flip stuff. To be honest with you, I don't think the quick flip stuff works as well in markets like this. If you're just kind of coming in, buying the home, doing a repair, and then trying to resell it. We saw, a couple of years ago, home prices were appreciating like crazy. Like while you were repairing the home, you probably made an extra, 10, 20% on appreciation. And when you sold it, you were so happy. With home prices falling right now, it's almost like I compare it to trying to catch a falling sword, right? You never want to play that game when things are falling. You don't want to try to just squeeze out those little profits inside of that asset class and make those quick flips. That's not a game I want to play. I'm looking at macro conditions as far as interest rates go, prices of homes, well, I guess commercial assets in this situation, and I'm playing the long game with it. A short-term investor always loses, right? It's it's tried and true without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I can't help but smile because it also reminds me, maybe this sounds cliche, but it's one of those sayings, anyone can be an expert sailor in calm waters, right? So it's,
Yeah, everyone's an expert in the bull market, right?
yeah, exactly. So it's neat that you kind of have that perspective there. So in terms of, I know that, we talked a bit about kind of merging the crypto and then obviously backing it with a commercial real estate asset and things like that, right? So how exactly does it work? Are you able to own a small piece of the asset through crypto, or what exactly is it?
Are you asking if I'm able to finance real estate through the crypto asset, or are you asking if I'm able to own portions of the crypto assets?
The latter.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
So it's the same as a public traded equity or stock, right? You can own fractional shares of crypto, right? Bitcoin might be 16,000, but you can easily buy half a Bitcoin for 8, a quarter Bitcoin for 4, all the way down to, less than 1% of a Bitcoin if you just want to put 50, $100 into it. There really is no limit to how many fractions you can cut a Bitcoin or other cryptos into.
Okay, absolutely. No, yeah, and I'm curious as well. It's really yeah, because for me, crypto is something, like you mentioned, it's a bit more volatile. I'm not as well versed on the crypto side, so it's great to have someone, like you come in and kind of offer, melding both of those worlds together. So are you purchasing have you ever purchased a property strictly in crypto at all?
We're kind of in a gray area for that kind of stuff right now as far as laws and regulation, which I do embrace. But no, I've never purchased a property in crypto. All property purchases I've ever engaged in have been US, good old USD.
Yeah, no, I had to ask as well. I was curious because I think it was maybe 5 years ago, the first guy who purchased a property strictly in Ethereum. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Right. I mean, if you're doing a private sale, all cash offer between the buyer and the seller, I don't see why that would be an issue. I don't know what hoops you have to jump through to make that happen. But yeah, I can see that happening, or I have seen that happen in the past. And I think we'll only continue to see that happen in the future as more laws and regulations surrounding the blending of these asset classes and the blending of crypto with other asset classes continues.
Yeah, absolutely. And, curious as well, I know you mentioned commercial real estate, but could you talk a bit about maybe the particular asset classes that you're looking to invest in? Or?
Yeah, strip malls are really the target right now, to be honest with you. I think that a lot of people, when they think commercial, they think high rises, office buildings, things like that. That is not my target at all. Office buildings for the obvious reason, right? Nobody goes to work anymore. Everyone's working from home. You see Meta just backed out of their, almost $600 million lease here in Austin, as far as I know, because of that. And the beauty of these strip malls is, right, these are businesses that provide goods and services that you can't get in the metaverse. You can't get it online. You can't order it on Amazon. I guess you could order it on maybe DoorDash or Favor, but that business is still going to be there. Has to have a physical location. We're talking about doctors' offices, dentist offices, restaurants, stuff like that. And I really like that kind of aspect of commercial compared to like what we talked about, office buildings, even apartment buildings. It's just so much management that goes into that compared to what you can get on these commercial buildings with the triple nets. And these are, qualified individuals, business owners that are going to respect your property and things along those lines. Whereas an apartment building, you're dealing with individuals and so many more headaches as opposed to dealing with businesses as your customers.
Absolutely. And that's such an interesting distinction you make there because we're kind of in a weird time where, maybe we threw the baby out with the bathwater. Everyone thinks, oh my gosh, no one's working from home, or sorry, everyone's working from home now, Meta backed out of this lease. But at the same time, we forget that there are essential services, like the doctor's offices, the dentist, whatever it is, that still need a physical location in those strip malls.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the beauty of that is if you put the right clientele in there, it's going to be the businesses like we talked about with those doctors and dentists. They're always going to pay their bills, right? They're never going to be behind. Like those services are essential to society. So we really like having those customers in our leases um, for that reason alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of these, I guess these assets that you're working on, is it mostly, is it nationwide? Is it here in the state of Texas, or where exactly?
Texas based right now, but planning to expand globally within, maybe 4 to 6 years. We'll be nationwide pretty soon here shortly.
Absolutely. And that's, I know that international market is always very interesting, just given that we're living in an interesting time, kind of that global society. People, from Texas, maybe they go down to Mexico and, purchase properties down there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of allure to leaving the United States and moving to these other countries where you can get so much more bang for your buck, right? Either for your business or for your personal life. You see so many people from Texas retiring down there in Mexico. So the international market is obviously much more difficult to navigate as far as the real estate transaction goes, but there's a lot of opportunity in different countries that we don't get to see here in the United States. So I'm excited to move to that side of investing in real estate when the time comes.
Absolutely. And I know that kind of fed into the next question here, but Matt, what are you looking forward to? Maybe someone's out there, they're listening. What are you looking forward to, and how are you looking to connect with people?
Well, I always love to educate, right? That's why I come on these podcasts, television shows, speaking engagements. I like to go out and just educate. I like to share my experiences in business, in investing with others so that they can learn from this and take it and use it as a piece of knowledge and also gain some motivation to say, hey, this can be done. Go forward and do it themselves. Those who aspire to have a better life, those who want more for themselves, I love to speak to those people and be a little piece of their puzzle to show them how to grow in the way that they, envision their life.
Absolutely. Oh, and that's something that I probably should have brought up at the beginning of the show to ask you. But I know that you were in Tennessee last week. Could you talk a bit about your trip up to Vanderbilt?
Yeah, that was an excellent trip. I really loved it. Vanderbilt's MBA school identified me as an expert in business, entrepreneurship, investing, and blockchain. And they actually asked me to come out there and speak to their MBA students and professors regarding those topics. It was an absolute blast. I love having kind of the feather in the cap and kind of being recognized as an expert by a top 25 business school in the country. But what I really enjoyed about it was I could speak to my crowd in the way that maybe I wouldn't be able to speak to in like a podcast setting, right? This podcast is for everybody, right? I want the person who is just getting started in their career to be able to understand what I'm talking about. And I want the person who's far advanced in their career to understand what I'm talking about. But going to Vanderbilt was really fun for me because these are MBA students who have been studying financial strategies and investing for many, many years, kind of those high level individuals. So it was fun to actually kind of talk top level with those guys and get a little bit more advanced than maybe I could, on a podcast that I want to have be all encompassing of every audience that might be watching it.
Absolutely. And that's so neat. I mean, for you, Matt, that's a huge honor for you, obviously, to kind of gain up that experience in the industry and really all this knowledge that you have, and really being able to kind of speak to an audience like that at a top 25 school. So, commend you for that. That's really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It was absolutely great. So I appreciate your thanks.
Yeah, beautiful, Matt. Well, is there anything you haven't said this far you'd really just like to hit home for us?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't prepare anything. uh, to be honest with you, like I said, I'm here to motivate and educate. So if you guys got anything from this today, I just want to say thank you for listening. And I hope you're able to apply anything I've told you to real world situations and grow from the words I've said to you today.
Absolutely, Matt. And I think there are a lot of neat takeaways. I guess number one, just kind of like we kept talking about, really bringing those two industries together, crypto and real estate. Obviously, there's a lot of different opportunities in commercial real estate, especially the returns are pretty high. And, obviously, it's backed by a commercial asset. So I think it's super neat what you're doing. If there's anyone out there who's looking to connect with you, maybe we're here in the state of Texas, outside of Texas, somewhere else, around the country, how can we connect with you?
Well, my Instagram is my name. My LinkedIn is my name. Just throw me into Google. You'll find me across all socials. Go ahead and send me a message if you're looking to connect, and we'll go from there.
All right, very good. Well, Matt, we'll put your info in the show notes. Again, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. It always expands my mind a little bit, hearing, ambitious people like yourself who are doing big things. And I know it's the beginning of something really great. So, thank you for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Talk to you later.
I'll see you later.